Just do it. Nike kind of snapped with this one because you immediately know it's them. Also, it's true. It's simple, straight to the point, and oftentimes, you can find yourself just doing stuff. Um, but it's not always as simple, and there are times where it's do it, actually find a way to do it. So in our everyday existence, we do things all the time. Every like I mean, our life uh, is a series of things that we do or think about doing. But there are also things sometimes that are more, we have to think more about them because we're nervous about doing them, because we're scared. We we don't think we can do it. We have doubts about that. So we think a lot and we don't do. And I don't want to say, because I use just do it as the main point. I don't want you to think that I think that it's easy, because it's not. There are things that I would admit we make more complicated than they are supposed to be. But there are also other things that are really more complicated because there are just nuances. There are different factors to take into considerations before you can actually do those things. And that's what I want to talk about. Also, disclaimer, there are things that are illegal. There are things that you shouldn't be doing because they're just not right. Um, but let's say we're talking about things that are actually legal. If you go out and do stuff that are illegal and you get caught, don't bring people to this video and tell them she told me to do it. That's not what it's about, okay? All right, so let's talk about things that are legal. And you think about something and you wonder if you can do it, if you should do it, if what's going to happen if you do it, or what's going to happen if you don't do it. So many things go through your mind, and sometimes you get caught up in this maze of questions, and the action never comes. So this is something that I struggle with at times as well. I'm going to give you an example. Even this YouTube channel. So I've been on social media for a while, like a lot of you probably, and I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I call it YouTube University. You can basically learn. You can really, literally learn anything on YouTube. Um, and so I spend a lot of time on YouTube watching documentaries, watching, videos of people doing their thing. And I considered having my own channel, but not really until very recently. And my doctor, Dr. Henry, actually was the one who mentioned it to me. He had some sort of epiphany and, told me about it. And I was just thinking the way he said it, I think also made a difference when he kind of went through here in a way that didn't before. And also because he knows what I go through, um, that he would even, suggest something like that. I was like, oh, that's intriguing. So I started getting excited about the idea of maybe having a YouTube channel where I could talk about my health, talking about health in general, talking about all kinds of stuff, because I'm interested in a lot of things. So I went home and thought about it and discussed it with other people. And the funny thing was, every single person I talked to afterwards, and I mentioned that idea to, they were like, oh, of course you should. I mean, what have you been waiting for? Like, I kept thinking in my mind, why the, maybe I shouldn't have a YouTube channel. Let's do it again. Why doesn't she have a YouTube channel already? And I was like, oh, okay. I never knew you felt that way. And people are like, no, I like, you have the personality, you have the knowledge, you have like so much to share. I always wondered why you didn't, but I just didn't want to overstep. And that's why I didn't say anything. And maybe, some people felt like maybe I wouldn't be interested in doing it. So I was like, okay. But then it wasn't really the doubts about like, could I do it? Because I'm like, what does that mean actually? What would be successful on YouTube? Like what would I want to do it? First of all, I want to do it for me, and I want to do it because I want to share something with other people, and whoever watches, right? So my bar is not, oh, I want to become like a super rich off of YouTube. That would be nice to make money, but I'm not, that's not the main purpose of me being on YouTube. So it was really like using this platform that I use a lot myself to share things, and maybe, and also like create community, talk to people and hear about what people are going through and things like that, and just exchange about what life, like we're in it together, so why don't we just share? So there's so many people on YouTube already. So one of the things that a lot of people struggle with is like, well, what can I bring to the table that other people haven't? You bring you. That's what you bring. So I bring me. And I know I'm unique, like I'm a unique personality, like I'm um, special because I'm a single human being. And all of us have that. So this is what you bring. So I knew that. And also, what do you want to talk about that other people have not been talking about? Like, even if I talk about health, if I talk about like my previous video about our, everyday hypocrisy and things like that, maybe somebody else might talk about the same thing, but nobody's going to talk about it the same way I do, right? So that's going to be my the value that I bring. And so, but you have to believe that it's worth doing it. But again, at the core for me is doing something that I actually want to do, that I know, that I want to do for me, first of all, right? And so the success that a lot of people can be striving for on YouTube is not the main thing, like in terms of like money that you can make, or like notoriety that you can acquire through this platform. It would be great. I'm not gonna lie, it would be great, but that's not why I started. So thought about that. Those were the first thing, but then also it was mostly for me was technically, can I do it? Like, what do you need to actually start a YouTube channel? Okay, I already had one because I was already like signed on to it, and I was commenting on other people's video, liking all that. So that's actually already you having a channel. Then you just have to customize that channel, and then okay, learn how to make a video, post a video, all those things. And so I did a lot of research, looked into it, and I was like, oh, do I need an actual camera? Can I use my phone? What do people do? Like, what do I need to get started? I took some time to look into that. But I have to tell you, the main thing that I was mostly concerned about was, can I keep it going? Like, once I start, am I actually going to enjoy it? Because if I don't enjoy it, I'm not gonna put in the effort. I'm not gonna keep doing it, and especially in the beginning when nobody's watching or almost nobody, I'm not calling you nobody. Just to be clear, and I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So in the beginning, you never know who's gonna watch, right? Sometimes you may have a few views, sometimes none, and then one of your video might like uh, take off, and you get like 1,000 views. I don't know. So you don't like, if that's what you're seeking, you're gonna be completely discouraged if nobody watches, right? So if you enjoy it, doesn't matter if nobody's watching. At least to me, that's what it was. So I looked into like the technical part, and then I was just thinking, okay, let me give it a try. So I wasn't going to like spend a lot of money like in equipment and things like that, because that's not first of all, I didn't have the means, but also there was no point. Like, if you're just getting started, you don't even know if you're gonna enjoy it. So don't start spending a lot of money on it before you get started. So I knew I could use my phone with a great camera. And then the only thing I invested in, the two things I invested in, are that microphone here and my gimbal. And I'm still kind of the gimbal. I haven't used it as much as I thought I was going to use it, because I thought I was going to do more walk and talks and things like that. But it's gonna come. So these are the two things that I invested in, and they were not expensive at all. I can link the links into the description if you're for those who would be interested. So then all I have to do is just give it a try. And that's what happened. I gave it a try and I had a blast. I loved it. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't even sure what I was talking about. It was just I was just randomly talking to my camera, but I enjoyed the process. And I was just thinking, okay, I think I can keep doing that regardless of what happens. So then it came time to, okay, decide, okay, well, your first video that you're going to put out, what are you going to talk about? Are you going to be scripted? Are you going to be like a the I don't do script. I'm a horrible actress. And so if I start, like, if I have a very detailed script, I'm going to try to focus on that and try to repeat exactly what's on the script. And then it's not going to come off as, natural. So no script for me. Just a couple of points. I know what I want to talk about, and then just I talk. You can, as you can tell, I just talk. So that was the first thing. And then after that, once you record your video, so then just decide, okay, lighting, what kind of stuff like that, where are you going to do it, where, things like that, logistics. Then editing the video, which program are you going to use, how long it's going to take you to learn how to use it, all that. And then finding a title, doing the thumbnail, the description, and publishing your video. And did the first one. It was a long process because I was learning as I was going, but I really loved it. And once it was posted, I felt so happy and so proud of myself for having done it. And the thing that I not feared, but I was most concerned about was, whether was I going to enjoy it, was answered at the very beginning, the very first time I recorded myself, even though I didn't even think I was going to post that video. So this is what I now. So I'm just doing it now, and I'm going to continue doing it until I don't want to do it anymore. So this is another thing that I would like to offer you if you're someone who struggles with making a decision on starting something. First, ask yourself, what would happen? Do I really want to do it? If the answer is yes, then ask yourself, why am I not doing it? So usually the way I would answer that is, where you ask yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen if I don't do it? Regrets? That's usually the big one. But what's the worst thing that can happen if you do it? Unless the answer is death, harm to you or somebody else, maybe going to jail or prison. I already mentioned that. So keep that in mind. What's the worst thing that can happen? Somebody says no, you can move on. It's going to hurt, but you reach out to someone, they don't respond. Again, it might hurt, but no, like you recover from that. Um, so ask yourself those questions. And based on that answer, move forward. If there are barriers that are like financial, for example, in my very first video, I was talking about Dr. Gooby, right? He quit his job, but remember, well, if you haven't watched the video, you can go back and watch it. But if you've watched it already, and if you remember, he decided, once he had the conversation with his wife, but he didn't quit right away. Even though he had money, he stayed another, I think, 9 months. I think it was to put his affairs in order and make sure that he has actually enough money to see, to be able to stay home for a while until he figures out what he's going to do, and maybe his wife's going to start working and things like that. So that's one thing. If it's a financial thing, then organize yourself. Don't do it right away, but see what can you do to remove that barrier, because that's really the point. With every single barrier, every single obstacle that's in front of you, what can you do to remove that? You don't have to go at it like right away, just do the thing. That's what I was saying to you. It's not just do it, it's do it, because it's in you a lot of the times it's in increment. Do one thing that's going to get you closer to that goal, to that thing that you really want. So if money is a barrier, what can you do to remove that barrier? Does that mean that you have to stay in that job for a little bit longer to put money aside so you can leave, or find something else where you can make money that's going to replace that money that you might be losing from the job? Maybe that's it, right? If the barrier is I don't know. I'm trying to think. What else can that be? The biggest barrier, I think, would be the fear up here, the fear of failure. You think that if you do that thing and it doesn't work, then you're not going to recover from the failure. I'm here to tell you, you will, because you probably already have. Nobody goes through life never failing at anything. And it depends on what you define as failure, right? But every single time you stumble, that's basically what society looks at failure. But it doesn't mean it's the end of anything. It's a lesson that you're learning, but it's much better than if you don't do that thing and then you regret it for the rest of your life. You wake up 10 years from now and you're wondering, oh, what if I did it? Now you don't have to wonder, because you did it. It didn't work out, but you did it. And what if you start and you have to give up at some point because it's not you don't your things happen, right? Or you don't like it anymore. That's one thing that can happen. But oftentimes, if you're wired like me, like for most of my life, and especially after since it's changed since I started having health issues, um, I never used to abandon or quit on anything. If I start something, I have to finish it. It didn't matter what I was. And it didn't really matter at what cost. Even if it hurt me, I would finish, because I just couldn't stand. And also because I don't think my parents would have looked at it like, in a good way if I did. So I never wanted to disappoint anybody. So I would always finish things that I started. But then with my health issues, there's been so many times where I've had to walk away from things or just stop doing certain things because I just had to. And but also I became okay in with some things where that thing doesn't fulfill me anymore. I can stop also. It's okay. It's okay. It really is okay, and you will survive. So that's something that you have to become okay with yourself. So if you start like this YouTube channel, if one day I wake up and I'm like, yeah, I don't feel it anymore, I'm good. And also I'm someone who's super intense. Sometimes I start things and I'm like all in. I do so much research. I do all kinds of stuff. I started collecting succulents last year, last spring 2023. I have over 300. Like I'm making babies and all that. All that happened so fast. I'm still in it, but you should have seen me when I started. I mean, I'm not even going to qualify what it looked like, but this is how I am. Like, I really get into stuff. I research everything. I go into rabbit holes. I'm all in. I'm talking to people. I'm connecting with people. I'm doing all type of stuff. And, so that's what I do. But I'll be okay if tomorrow I'm not interested in succulents anymore. I can sell them. I'll feel something because I've grown attached to them, but it's not the end of the world, and somebody else is going to enjoy those succulents, right? But with everything that you do, sometimes there's an expiry date just because you don't feel it anymore, because we change all the time. So we don't have to stay stuck in situations that no longer serve us. So whatever it is that you want to do, think about what it means to you, how much it means to you, how much you want it. And if this is really something that you want to do, start putting one foot in front of the other, one piece. You don't have to do every day something towards it, right? But every once in a while, just put one piece on that board to start creating that image, that thing that you want to achieve, because that's how it goes. You put the pieces together, but you don't have to go it all at once. And there's never going to be a perfect moment either. That's the other thing that oftentimes stop people from doing the things that they really want to do. There's never going to be a perfect moment. So you have to create that perfect moment by just starting with one thing. Even that means just getting information, talking to someone who can help you. Just do one thing and then keep going. Reward yourself in the process as well, because that's important. Also, enjoy the journey, whatever that journey is. Enjoy it, because the destination is one thing, but also the journey is very important. So, and also because you don't know if you're actually going to end up at that destination. You might end up somewhere else, maybe even better than what you thought. So give that a try. And if you want to share with me, I would love to hear about that thing that, or those things that you want to do. Let me know in the comments. Would love to embark on this journey with you and encourage you. And really, I want to thank you again for watching, because it's been a pleasure. And I'm really grateful for every single one of you who tune in. I'm grateful for the new people who came in for this particular video, and I hope you stick around. And yeah, thank you. Um, like, comment, subscribe, as always, share, spread the word, whatever you need to do. But really, thank you. I really appreciate that. And go ahead and do it, whatever it is, right? See you in the next one. Bye-bye.